Hello everyone, my name is Nadia from the Nadia and Rob channel. Welcome to our channel, and if you're new here, we tend to explore more food-based items, whether we show recipes or we're trying out new things or we're experimenting and trying out recipes that we haven't tested before. That's what we do in this channel, and we basically bring you guys on the exploratory journey with us. So stick around, you may like this episode that we've done. This is the third video, part of a series for the Meringue series. We did the French meringue, we did the Swiss meringue, and now in this one, we're doing the Italian meringue. Stick around till the end of the recipe video or till after the video, as Rob and I will actually sit and kind of chat about the three different meringues. In all fairness, Rob is still confused as to the differences between the meringues, and I don't fault him or blame him for that because you're still not sure what the real differences are, except for the science behind it that warrants or merits the main differences between the three. And the differences between them are stability, texture or thickness of it, and the cooking process, if there's any cooking, as well as application or use. The French meringue, we made lemon meringue cookies. With the Swiss, we did pavlovas with blood orange curd. With the Italian meringue, we've actually already made these tarts, and we made a gluten-free crust. Recipe for the crust will be found in the description area below, as it's not ours, so the link will be there for you to click on. And then we made a Meyer lemon curd, but scoopable. It's more like a custard, so that the tart shell is more of a vessel containing the custard. With the Italian meringue, you scoop it out, you eat it. So good. So we made it actually a day beforehand so that for the actual shoot of the Italian meringue, it's ready to go. Which I think in a future video, because we've gone down this meringue rabbit hole, I've actually gone down the curd rabbit hole, believe it or not. And in trying to check all these different curds, methodology, recipes, cooking, and everyone, or almost everyone, claiming they have the best curd recipe. Really, it depends on the application as well and how you want to serve it and how thick you want it to be. As well, limiting of sugar. How much sugar do you actually need to make a curd is the question that always pops up in my head. So I went down that curd rabbit hole. We'll share that with you as well because I found some interesting things, and there's definitely 2 curd recipes that I'm really enjoying outside of all the recipes that we've tried. Because if you notice in the Swiss meringue recipe, we had to perform an SOS on the curd, partly my fault. I still didn't quite understand what the cooking style was like. Later on, I learned that I had to beat the sugar and the egg yolks together to make it into a paste-like consistency and then cook it so you wouldn't have any of the eggs congealing, and we were able to save it. That's the more important bit. So for the Italian meringue, which differs from the Swiss and the French meringue, you're actually cooking the sugar to a certain point of temperature. And once it reaches that temperature, you're then adding hot sugar into the already beating egg whites into the mixer, which a lot of people seem to be intimidated by. To be honest, out of the 3, or between the Italian and the Swiss, I actually prefer the Italian meringue cooking rather than the Swiss meringue. You're going by a certain temperature. Once you've reached that temperature, there's no guessing game. You add it once it's ready. So let's get started, make this delicious Italian meringue. And, do stick around near the end of the video or after the recipe as Rob and I sit and chat about the 3 different meringues. And hopefully you can then understand the differences between them and the applications. That's our hope anyways. So let's get started. Mom's face is covered in meringue.
So which one are you going to start on?
Do you want to do drops?
No. Okay, go for it.
This one first?
Slow down. Yeah, it's up to you. Slow down, slow down. Yes. Ready?
Let's try it.
Dig in.
Look at that. Scoopable custard.
Yum.
Yummy, yummy. Mmm. Wow.
We need a bigger vocabulary for
And wow.
Look how that.
And I think we're going to do a video on how to make a really creamy, custardy curd without adding cream.
Good curtain. Curd to the lens, curd to the lens.
Yummy. I kind of like that you can scoop the curd.
Kind of like you can scoop a meringue.
Wonder?
Winner. It's delish.
Yeah. I agree. It's good. It's actually not too sweet. It's not too sour. It's very good. Come here, crust.
Yum.
That's good. I guess that's the end of the video.
That's the end of the Meringue series.
That's the end of the Meringue series.
On to curd.
Okay. Yeah. Alrighty.
There we go.
All right. Well, welcome back.
We've done it all.
We hope you enjoyed the recipe and hopefully try making it. If you do, we'd love to hear in the comments down below how it turned out.
It turned out really good. It was very good.
I have to say that I found the meringue wasn't as stiff as I would have liked it. I did experiment making it before, and I get the sneaky suspicion a little bit of fat creeped into either the bowl or the whisk, because we recently did a client shoot, and even though we made sure we tried to clean everything, I feel like a little bit of fat was left behind, because it was very stable.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong, but it wasn't as stiff as I'd liked it to be. Still was
Could
very
also
yummy.
be humidity.
But that's the thing. That's the beauty of the Italian meringue. It doesn't matter the humidity because of the science behind it. I'm enjoying learning about food science.
Yeah, I really liked the Italian meringue because in texture, it's almost like a marshmallow texture, and it's got a really nice gloss to it.
Yeah.
And according to the science, it's very stable, and it was delicious.
It was very good.
It also looks cool when you just singe it a little bit.
It really,
which reminds me again of marshmallows toasted on a fire.
That's exactly what I was going to say, like at a campfire. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. French. Now, what did we do for the French meringue?
French, we did the little cookies. And the French, I think of the French as the simple meringue. Mm-hmm. It's just whip the eggs, sugar, tartar? Cream of tartar?
That's right. The reason you add the cream of tartar is to help with the stability, so that it doesn't get so weepy, it doesn't start to collapse very quickly. You have time to at least work with the meringue in preparation for baking.
But it's basically whip the eggs, throw in a bit of tartar, throw in the sugar, and you get a meringue. And yeah, given time, it'll collapse and do weird things, but you can bake it, and it's really nice. And you get that nice, crisp. We got those crispy but chewy cookies. Were really good.
I mean, if you want less chew in the cookies, just bake it for a little bit longer. But the key is to always make sure that the oven door stays closed. You do not want any moisture creeping in.
Yeah, you want to, while they're hot, they would attract moisture, and then it
would stick to your teeth. Swiss meringue.
Swiss meringue, the middle meringue, yes. I think of. And I guess the Swiss are sort of between the French and the Italians. So
neutral.
I'm trying to figure out ways to keep it straight in my head. So the middle meringue is?
The Swiss meringue is where you actually gently heat the sugar with the egg white on a double boiler.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right? So it gets confusing after a while. You gently heat the sugar into the egg white to help start building stability. And that's why the Swiss meringue is also more in the middle between the French and the Italian. It has more of a stability than the French meringue, but it's not as thick or dense as the Italian meringue, but still multi-purpose. I mean, a Swiss meringue can be used to make buttercream for cakes and cupcakes.
Right.
It can be used to also make cookies. And what we did was we made pavlovas.
Which was very good.
A number of applications I can think of. And because you're gently heating the sugar with the egg white, you're kind of cooking the eggs. So it's safe to eat if you wanted to eat it like we did. Right. We licked the bowl and ate it.
But also we piped it out into sort of pavlova discs or shapes or whatever. And then once it's baked, it's very stable, and you can sort of keep it around. As long as it doesn't get into really hot, moist temperatures, it's going to stay nice and stable, so you have time to decorate it or make a cream sauce or whatever you want to use for, adding it to a dessert.
Or serve it the next day. If you want to make it ahead of time, it's really great for stuff like that.
And it's really nice because you can sort of tear it into nice pieces.
Which is what we did.
Yeah,
we like to go the non-traditional route. We did add cornstarch to the Swiss meringue, and the reason you add that cornstarch is to help that marshmallowy texture as opposed to a chewy texture. Yeah, as opposed to a chewy texture. So that's the French and the Swiss. The Italian meringue. What did we do with the Italian meringue?
That one, now that's one I remember because we just did it, is you combine the sugar and the water and you actually cook.
My apologies. That's a client. Okay, sorry.
Go back to the Italian?
Yeah. Okay, so last but not least.
Italian meringue.
And what did we do with the Italian meringue?
This one I remember because we just did it. So with the Italian meringue, you add the sugar and the water and you cook it. So you put them directly onto the heat slowly and raise it to
116 degrees Celsius, which is I think around 240 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Is that considered in candy talk as that first crack?
That is firm ball, which is why which is why I want to save it for the last part of the discussion. So the 116 degrees Celsius is where you reach firm ball. 115 degrees Celsius is where you reach soft ball. And there are different uses for them.
Okay. But basically, you heat the sugar and the water until they reach the 116 degrees. And then you gently, meanwhile, you have to be whipping the eggs, as you saw. So we did them side by side. And then once you hit that temperature, you do have to time it a little bit so that the eggs are like a whipped meringue ready to go. And then you gently pour the heated or the cooked sugar and water into the meringue. And then it whips up into a really beautiful, glossy, rich meringue.
It was very pearlescent.
Yeah,
really pretty.
Good. And it pipes really beautifully, and it's gorgeous stuff.
Now the main reason between the Italian and the Swiss meringue, in the Swiss meringue, you're gently heating the egg white with the sugar, right? When they're blending in. In the Italian meringue, because you have the sugar cooked to a certain temperature, in this case, what's called a firm ball phase, 116 degrees Celsius, when you add the hot sugar to the egg white, you're pasteurizing the eggs.
Right, so they're cooking. So now it's totally safe if you're concerned about egg whites or egg yolks and stuff like that. It's perfectly safe to eat it because it's been cooked by the hot sugar, and it's beautifully stable. And as you saw, it gets these beautiful shiny peaks, and it just beckons a finger like.
I mean, the Italian meringue on its own can sit in the fridge for about 2 or 3 days, maybe even 4 days without even falling apart. It's that stable. Humidity, so if you want to make a pavlova with an Italian meringue as well, and you live in a country where it's high humidity, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, and I think it was relatively easy to make. I mean, the only thing that's tricky is the timing of getting the eggs whipped to the right point at the same time that the sugar hits the right temperature. But once you've sort of accomplished that, combining them and running with it is actually sort of easy, and it creates great results. I mean, you nailed it first time.
Yeah, I think I actually prefer the Italian meringue over the Swiss in terms of cooking method. One, I don't have to do a double boiler, keep checking to see if the sugar has finally dissolved. I know the temperature it's going to reach. I know that the egg whites, set it on a medium spin and it'll get to the fluff. They'll meet at the same time, basically.
And the results are amazing.
Yeah. So, thank you for watching our meringue series.
And remember all the things: subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell.
Yes.
So you get notification when we release again.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed these.
Enjoy.
Let us know in the comment down below if you guys use any of these recipes. We'd love to know what you did.
Yeah, they're good.
Bye.
Enjoy.